Well, everybody, welcome to Beat the Algorithms today. My name is Mike Hillary. For those of you who, I think I know everybody here in the room today. Those of you who don't know me, who may be joining us by Zoom, I am the regional tech trainer for the Mid-American region here. I'm also a Maps technology coach. What else have I done? I'm a labs advisor, former chair of KW Kids Can, former treasurer of the national thing. I do a whole lot of stuff. I've collected a lot of titles and hairnets along the way. And former MCA, the one I most internally identify with. My goal here today is I want to help, and this is a code talk class. So Amy's going to pop into the chair at some point, her poor knee, if you haven't seen it. And so the name of the game here is either you take advantage of the technology that's out there, or it's going to take advantage of you. And so we're going to do some quick hits. We're going to talk about Google local service ads. We're going to talk about how to beat the lead aggregators at their game. And then Amy's going to talk about how to do this with social media as well. Because there are ways to get yourself noticed that don't require a credit card. And you know what? These companies are in it to make a little bit of money. And so if you are going to spend money on these things, let's make sure you're getting the most closings for your buck. One of the big mistakes I see agents do is calculate cost per lead instead of cost per sale. Because when you really dig into what some of these aggregators and Google Ad services do, they sell their leads at least 12 times to different agents. So you're not the only one paying for it. And so, oh, did I get it right? On. Click. Oh, maybe I'm not. There we go. Cool. So I want to start with Google local service ads. One, because this is still a fairly untouched tool in suburban Chicago. In the city, this game's already being played. So I want to give you guys an advantage for those of you who are going down this route. So first things first, Google local ad services is not just a real estate game. This is really for any service business. So you'll see plumbers on this list. When you Google, hey, I need a handyman, I need a lawyer, I need this, I need that. Chances are you're going to start seeing the ads appear like this. So you'll see you'll see 3 people who've been reviewed, who've been Google screened, and then you'll see the pay-per-click ads underneath that. So it's a totally different strategy because Google only charges you when a lead gets connected to you. So if someone clicks on your site, that's great. You want to have a lead capture piece to that. You also want to have a way for them to get in contact with you while they're Googling it. And so what we're discovering here in the city specifically is it's a lower cost to actually run ads this way with better results than pay-per-click. The reason is, right, it's got that trust piece built in, right? You ever jumped on Amazon, right? And you see 3 different versions of your iPhone cable. There's one with a single star, there's one with 5 stars, and then there's one with 4.8 stars. And that's got 1,000 reviews, right? Is that the one you tend to gravitate towards? Or is it the 5-star with just one single review? It's well, I don't know if anybody else is actually seeing this, right? That social trust is built into how they build their algorithm. So there's 3 major components to it. Most important is proximity, honestly. Reviews are next, and then your reputation in their algorithm. So over the next several minutes here, we're going to really dive into how to game each of those 3. And you get primary placement. And sometimes if you're doing well, you'll actually get that top spot without having to pay for it. Because they see how many reviews you have going. They see that people have clicked through, that you're worth investing in if they're Google. And so here are the 5 things you always want to pay attention to anytime you're working with a service that provides leads. You're going to see this slide again when we get to the lead aggregators. Number 1, they treat speed to respond like the most important thing possible in the platform. Number 2, right? How do they know you actually made contact? Well, for most of us, we're leaving notes in their stuff. You also need a communication pathway. So for example, if there's an app that you can call somebody from or you can message them, they're going to prefer using their stuff, right? Because they built it to feed their information. Now, it's important for us to track that as well in one single spot, because this can get very splintered very quickly. And we'll talk about strategies for that. And then there are some settings that actually help you rank higher instantly just by having them in place. This is also a very patient conversion game. So these Google Local Services ads, right, they tend to be about a 12 to 18-month process. However, you're capturing them while they're being intentional. They've already decided where they're looking to buy, or, hey, I'm here, I'm ready to start talking to an agent. This is much different than, say, a Facebook, where you're interrupting their scroll. You're trying to capture their attention while they're doing something else and just kind of plant the seed. And so the follow-up plan is a little bit different. I want to start with settings because I don't know how many agents have actually set up their Google business profile. And so let's really kind of dig into this. Is pro tip number 1, I'm sorry, don't use your kw.com email if you want to run ads on it at some point. Because one of the rules of our emails is we don't take your credit card. We also don't allow you to use other Google Wallet services like Google Sites, Google pay-per-click ads, because honestly, we don't want to be on the hook if your credit card expires, because they're going to bill somebody. And so we got to bill you. Plus, this is just an easy way to keep track of it too. Oh, and if you're using like your existing like old AOL screen name at gmail.com, like I still have, it's a great idea to create a new Google profile just for your business, so you can start with a fresh reputation if you've never had it. So if you own like your own domain, right, and I'm looking at Mark here, right, the Pollock Properties emails, those should be their own Google profile for each agent coming in. And I'm going to say, talk to Eileen, right? Ask your broker how they want to handle the one-click rule to identify which brokerage you are part of, right? You'll see when we do this live, you'll see that some agents have just their name, some have put comma their brokerage, right? But you still want to be compliant with this game because that's how you win, right? So that's social media specific. This ends up being like the name of your business profile, right? So it'd be Mike Hillary, Keller Williams Experience, or Mike Hillary, whatever Eileen says goes, right? Just like Eileen's also the name of my older sister. So yeah, whatever Eileen says goes. Yeah.
A quick little side note, I did just put this in the chat. We actually just had somebody do a whole Google profile class on how to set it up. So I just
awesome.
put a link in there if anybody wants that recording.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's my pro tip. Skip the address here. You're going to do it later because you're not actually selling homes from within this building, right? It's not like I can grab a home off the shelf and hand it to them like I can the candy shop across the street. So this is one mistake I see a lot of agents just in general make when it comes to their online presence. They think they can serve everywhere at a high level, when in reality, you can't. So Google actually limits you. You cannot pick outside of a 2-hour drive radius of where you serve. So I could not list Chicago and Galena on my business profile. Even though my license is good for the whole state, they know chances are I'm not going to be able to get to that Galena seller as fast as I can to one around here, right? And for best practices, start small, right? Dominate a single city, invest in a single location, right? So that way, when they start to think of real estate in Downers Grove, or they start to think of real estate in Lombard, they think of you. Wherever your like home field is, start there. You also only have a maximum of 20, by the way. And so if you're a team with a large footprint, you're going to want to spread this out based on which agent specializes where, if you're going to go in on this. Does that make sense? And like, this is just good practice anyway, right? There's a reason we see like city agents refer out to the suburbs and vice versa. It's because if you're spending more than 30 minutes to get to a showing and get back, you are burning so much dollars per hour that it's honestly worth referring out. You make more money per hour doing that. So let's talk communication pathways, right? So if I'm a solo agent, this is pretty easy. If someone wants to click on the ad and get a hold of Mike, I'm going to put in my cell phone because I'm carrying that around. I'm going to put in my agent site because that way they can verify, oh, okay, he's not just on Google, but there's like a real website here. Right? He's a real guy with a headshot from 2016, right? On a team, you have some choices to make. Do you have a team bat phone, right? Like when someone calls, what number is on your signs? Is it each individual agent's number? Do you have a team line? That's kind of the line of demarcation I use is, okay, if the same number is on all your signs, that should be on your Google profile. Because you want to make it easy for the agent, for the consumer to connect, right? Now, chances are they may see a different number on Google than what your real number is, because Google wants to track how many people are calling through. Does that make sense, right? It's Google. They want to know things. This is all they do. Right. So one key step that I always saw got missed in my MCA days was verifying your profile. Agents would get postcards within like 3-4 days because they started it and they never responded to it, or that sat in their mailbox for a month. The speed in which you verify it is actually going to help your initial score because they want the most responsive agents, right? They want someone who's going to answer the phone when they call, and that's your first test. So
make sure you let your DFIs know that it's coming and that it's not spam.
Yeah, these Google postcards are not spam. Yep. So just go in and verify. You may just need to build up a little more steam, and that's okay. It's not like a game ender. It's and we'll do this activity in a minute. Here's the other thing. Don't use a single stock photo. Google knows all the stock photos. So use pictures you actually own the rights to publish, and the more authentic it is to you, the better. So find a unique camera angle with the shelves for your headshot, right? Take pictures of your signs, right? All the things, and just keep everything posted. Because here's the name of the game here, is speed to respond. So you may notice, and I think Mark's Coffee is on one of these, there are numbers 1 through 5 on different locations here in the build, right? All here in the classroom. So I kind of got to modify the game because I don't want Amy to get hurt in this game. So Amy is automatically going to be spot number 1. And so I'm going to have you guys pick a number really quick. Oh, did you steal 2? Okay. Okay, so we have Amy at number 1. Who drew number 2? Okay, Mark, I want you to stand right here for me next to the number 2. Who drew number 3? Great. You're going to stand right here next to Mark's computer. Are you 4 or 5? 4, okay. you're going to stand there. And then Joe, since you're number 5, you get a very special treat. I want you to sit down in the red chair back here. Okay. Okay. So here's the name of the game. The first person to grab this chocolate bar wins. When I say go, you can grab it. Right? So this is what they mean by speed to lead, right? Every message that comes through, they're looking for the first agent to answer, right? So you guys ready? Get set. Sorry, this is just going to be fun on camera for everybody. Go. Right. So notice how 4 of you didn't even have a shot at it. Now, what makes it that Mark is ready to do this? It is, okay, we have his profile set up. He's got the app ready to go. He is focused. It is ready to go. All he has to do is just reach and grab it, right? Amy may be distracted on something on her computer. So even though technically her spot was just as close, she didn't have a chance to go for it, right? And then poor Joe way in the back forgot he even downloaded the app. And so he's just kind of like hanging out back there, right? Don't worry, Joe, I got you one too. So, right, this is what they mean by speed to lead. So go ahead and grab your seats again. I just wanted to really illustrate it. You actually win the golden ticket. I got it at the candy shop across the street because I forgot mine at home. So here's how you get to that position in Google. Number 1, download the app. There is an app, Google My Business, because people are going to message you when they have a question about real estate, right? And so you want to respond to every message that comes your way, even if it's late, because Google knows, oh, okay, you know what, Mike's ignoring me. Clearly, this is invaluable to him. We're not going to put potential real estate clients in front of him, right? And here's the other piece of it that people forget is don't set it to be 24 hours unless you're going to be available to respond and reach for the candy bar at 3 in the morning.
So you can set the hours.
You set the hours in your profile
when they're sending the leads,
which tells you your place in line, right? This is you getting in line.
Right.
And so what you can do is you set your business profile hours, and then the ad itself you're going to run is Google Local Services. Set a preference between 9 and 11 a.m. or right 2 to 5, like whenever you're going to be ready to respond as quick as Mark could.
So they're less likely to send you leads outside of those hours, or they will not send you leads?
They are less likely.
Okay.
You'll see the bulk of them come in during your set hours.
Perfect.
Most of the other ones that do come in are not because of the ad, but because of the other things that happen because you're doing all this.
Right.
Because you're interacting with your reviewers, you're responding to messages, and so they'll bump your profile up for free on those pieces, right? So you always want to keep your photos fresh, right? If it's a, sorry, if your headshot's from a year that starts with a 1 and not a 2, you're going to want to update that, right? You're going to want to make things look like, okay, this is something that's happening in the current world, not an Olympics ago. So kind of 90 days is kind of my rule of thumb. Is give me something fresh, right? Let's talk. The reviews are your #1 driver for this algorithm, the #1. You actually have to have a minimum of a 3.0, which, knowing consumer behavior, they're either giving you a 1, a 2, or a 5, right? Get to 10 reviews and you'll start to see the magic leads come in, the good leads, the $500,000 home leads versus the 420 FICO score leads, right? the more reviews you get, the higher your ranking, which means they pick you more often, even on the free ones. And so put together a plan, whether it's a smart plan, whether it's a touch on your emails throughout the transaction process. Hey, how did we do? I'd love for you to leave a review on Google for us. And we say Google because one, it's Google's algorithm, but two, more consumers start on Google than they do on Realtor or Zillow combined. This is their first stop when they get serious about searching, right? And then there's a certification process for this. So this is what they do is they actually run a background check on you. They check, are you licensed? And they look for any like massive knocks at IDFPR against you. And it's really simple. Google pays for that background check as you run ads. So that like they want you to do it because that builds the trust in the consumer. You're like, oh, okay, you know, Mark's legit. He's cool. Does this kind of make sense? Right? So to really win at this, it's asking every single client to leave you a review. Because you want to get so far ahead that you can be like Mark and there's no catch up here. Does that make sense? And so when you're advertising, as much as like we like to sell ourselves, what is getting results for people is selling the program. What are the services that you are providing that make the most sense, right? And when you put together your profile, you'll see there's just kind of a menu list. Go for it. There's like, if I remember right, there's 9 real estate services. Pick them all. Because chances are it's stuff you already do as full service agents. Now, if you're only focused on the listing side or only focused on the buyer side, then you would narrow it down. And one of the biggest knocks against your score is missing a single call, right? So this is why it's so important to set those hours, right? Answer the calls that come in. Even if you think it's a spam call, be like, hello, this is Mike. Now you'll only get charged for the real people leads. You can dispute every charge that is like a spam call coming through, and you'll see it on your Google profile. But I figured we'd just do a quick hit on this as I'm already over on time, right? And then you want to maximize your leads in your budget, not the other option, which I think was, here's the most I'm going to bid on a lead. When you start here, you're going to aim for 10 leads a week to start to see the results show up in your appointments and your showings, because that's how you're going to get better results over time. Yeah. Oh, do I need to be your mic runner today? I can do that.
Answer every call. We always let ours roll the voicemail first. So you're saying don't do that
I'm saying you're getting penalized for that
because we're letting it roll the voicemail.
because they are calling looking to talk to a real person.
Telemarketers.
Yeah, and I totally get that,
Yeah.
right? But
Okay.
what you do,
Good to know.
so here's a fun thing I do is whenever you get a telemarketer call, use that as a chance to practice your script. Great. Hey, do you know anybody looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate today? I would love to help them out if they're looking in, you know, to West Suburban Chicago. They usually cuts them pretty quick. Yeah, it's one of the, it's a great way to like reinforce, okay, cool, here's our script, awesome. Oh, guess what? They're in sales. That's easy. Hey, have you ever thought about joining our team? So here's kind of the number you want to remember is 1% conversion rate tends to be about 15 times in GCI coming back. Now these Google local service ad leads, they're hanging around between like 5 and 10% versus just 1% because it's a warm handoff, right? And this is also the direction most of the lead aggregators have moved towards, right? First one to respond gets the lead. They know they can't just like throw leads at agents and hope they stick. So they look for the better agents, right? So this applies really to all these guys: Ojo, OpCity, Realtor.com, Zillow, HomeLight, whoever your credit card is sitting with to hand you leads. The best part is you just have to be first. You just have to be Mark, right? And so if we played this game again and you all have your profile set up, I can just walk down the middle. You guys all have a fair shot at this, right? It's the first one to speak to the client that wins. Now we gotta, of course, say, how did they know we spoke to them? Especially for Realtor.com, is you have to make notes in their system, but you don't have to make notes immediately. So one of the strategies that are up there is start in your home CRM, get everything in one spot, and then have your database manager put the notes in the native app, right? Which means you always have to ask, oh, so how did you find us? Okay, Realtor.com, great. The notes for this call go there. How did you find us? Oh, I came through OpCity, great. How did you find us? Oh, Google, great. And then, you get bonus points if you use their toys, right? So when these have an app, call from the app, message from the app, that just boosts your position for the better ones. Here's the real trick of it though, is a lot of people are going to say, is this home still for sale? Now in this market, what is the actual answer typically? Probably not. And you don't want to say that immediately. You want to say, you know what? Homes move pretty quick around here. Let's get at a coffee shop. Are you pre-approved? Are you ready to see this today? If not, let's put a plan in place so that when you find a home, we can jump on it. So go for the appointment. Like they're calling you ready to do business. Get them to a needs analysis as quick as you can, right? And the bigger teams are starting to have a specific database manager, whether it's a VA or someone who's on staff, who's going in and taking the notes from all these calls coming in and putting them in the native app, because it's just copy, paste, copy, paste. Great. Next one, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. And you want to be making notes 1 to 2 times a week, which means you got to be messaging 1 to 2 times a week. So like they reinforce the best habits out of this guy. They reward you for following this. So that's really who's winning. And the best part is your sellers are going to show up as buyers there first. Because the one objection I keep hearing over and over and over again is, well, Mike, where am I going to live if I go to sell my place? I don't know if I can find something. And before, I'm going to leave this as kind of my last one for the day here, is they reward success. So yeah, everybody says the leads, can I say this? The leads suck, but it's because you're not following the rules of their game, right? You got to start wide, right? Get what you can, close what you can. One example that was shared at Family Reunion is they took 2 leases through this and then their lead flow doubled, right? So yeah, take the 420 FICO score, right? Work with them, give them a shot at it. As soon as they see you start to close your first 3-4 deals, you're going to notice a stair step into the top 20% of the lead quality, which is really the name of the game, isn't it? You want the best of the best. You want the golden ticket, which I had. There it is. You want this. And so, yeah, that is honestly the really simple version of how to beat these guys at their own game, because they're set up to reward the strong, reward the better agent. They're not set up to, hey, great, Mike, you just put money down on your credit card. We're going to give you the best leads. No, because they want people to come back and say, oh, I had a great experience finding my agent through blank. So that's my spiel. And Joe, for being such a good sport. Cool. All right. Awesome. We're going to flip over to Amy here because the social media algorithms are a very different ballgame than people who are, hi, I'm ready to buy or sell. Totally different game. So Amy, I should probably give you a mic.
Yes. All right, we'll do that again. Is that better? Should be. Okay, perfect. All right. So I'm Amy Stack. I am one of the Market Center Tech trainers for the E2P group. And one of the things I was doing before I stepped into this role was I was a marketing coordinator. So I actually have a YouTube channel that's all about marketing based in technology for your real estate business. Can you tell I say that a lot? So if you guys do want to check that out, it is just youtube.com/thesocialstack. And this will be recorded. It is being recorded. We'll put it up there as well with Mike's permission. And got a thumbs up. So this will go back on the channel as well. And I do have several different things around this world. So today I really just want to kind of dip into the algorithms and what that looks like and why they're important. And I think we're ready to go. Is that good with everybody here? Perfect. I should have moved this closer. There we go. All right. So if it's okay with all of you, I think Google does the best job explaining what an algorithm is. So I just have the Google description I'm going to read to you. Is that okay? That's one of the questions I get most frequently is what is an algorithm? Why do we care about it? What does it do, right? So Google defines it as an algorithm is a mathematical set of rules specifying how a group of data behaves. In social media, algorithms help maintain order and assist in ranking search results and advertisements. On Facebook, for example, there's an algorithm which directs pages and content to display in a certain order. These algorithms encourage social media users to submit relevant, high-quality content and engage with consumers. That was a lot of words, right? So I'm going to boil it down to you into my top 5 tips for how you can get in front of those algorithms and actually get your content pushed higher in front of your people. So to sum it up, an algorithm is a mathematical equation that people that program it understand. They change all the time. And we want to know what we can do to work with and around that algorithm to get our content in front of our people's eyes more frequently. Make sense? Okay. So number 1, my very first tip is to make sure that you're engaging with people. There's a lot of things that you can do to be engaged on social media. You can like, you can put your own posts out there, you can comment, but to take it to the next level, I have some extra tips for you. And the reason that you want to engage is because the way that those algorithms work is they see that if you're on those sites and you are participating in their platforms and getting other people to stay on and be more sticky on their platform, they want to push you up higher because they see you as providing great content that people want to see and interact with, which gets them to stay on that platform longer, which probably gets more ads in front of their eyes, which makes their owners happy, right? And they're who people are advertising with them. So that's why we want to do be better engaged with our social media, and that's not just with other people, that's with our own content as well. So my big tip for you for that is to engage in the rule of fives. So it's the 5-5-5. And what that is you want to take at least 5 minutes before you post to comment or start a chat with somebody, 5 somebodies, and then use 5 words or more. So this is before you're posting anything. You want to go out and go find Melissa's post about her kids' high school basketball game and say something with 5 words or more about, oh, I'm so proud of what she's doing, or something like that. That must have been so exciting, right? And then that's one way you can do it, through a post. Another thing you can do is actually DM somebody, direct message them, and you can start a chat with somebody and say, oh, I saw XYZ was happening. That looks so interesting. Now, with the DMs, you can actually message people that you're not already friends with. So the nice thing about that is that if you are not friends with them and you're posting in a public manner on Facebook, meaning it's not something that is assigned as friends only. I keep saying Facebook, this works for all platforms too. But if you're posting in a public fashion and you're DMing somebody that you're not already friends with or following or anything like that, that shows the engagement between you and this other person. So when you do post your 5 minutes later, if they've already interacted with you, the algorithm says, hey, Amy was talking to Mark. They're not friends, but he wrote back. So I think that Mark might like this thing that Amy posted, and stick it in front of him. Yep. So trying to reconnect with your clients, go comment on the people you haven't talked to in a while, comment on their pages. Looking for new clients, go comment on somebody or start a message with somebody that isn't connected to you yet, but maybe shares a similar interest to you. So that's the rule of 5. It's 5 minutes before you post, reach out to 5 people, whether it's a comment on something they posted or a direct message, using 5 words or more. Emojis do not count, exactly. So, and Bitmojis don't count either. You have to use at least 5 words. That's what the algorithm that's how it differentiates between a yay or great job and like an actual meaningful conversation, right? Correct. Happy birthday does not cut it anymore.
So it's a minimum. So is there any value going more than 5?
Not that I've heard of. That's a great question. So for those of you on Zoom, the question was 5 is the minimum. Is there a maximum? I'm not aware of a maximum. I think that as long as the person is responding to you, that's what's triggering the algorithm to push your content in front of them more. Yeah. The one last thing I wanted to mention about engagement is once you do post, please don't post and ghost. Does anybody know what that means? I see snickers in the room here. So we don't want to post anything and then never come back to it. So if I post something and people are commenting on my post, like I know some of you in this room, I was working on a new backsplash in my kitchen, right? I probably had 50 people comment with their opinions on what I should do with my backsplash. Did I respond to all of them? Yes. Was it all 5 words or more? No. But I do know that that post was, popular. So then the people that were engaging with that, because I knew to look for this, I went and looked at other things I was posting unrelated to my backsplash. And some of those people that had never commented on my class post before were now commenting and liking on it. So I know that it did get pushed in front of them. So that's just a little example. So make sure you're engaging. And for you guys, somebody could be engaging that could be a client, right? You don't want somebody to say, oh, I want help with this, and then you never get back to them. That's the same exact thing Mike was saying with pick up the phone when the lead comes in, right? All right. So my next tip is all about quality content. All right. So for this one, we're always the algorithm's looking for healthy, relevant content that keeps people on the platform. So that's kind of what we were talking about at the beginning with making sure that your content is keeping other people on their platform and engaged with their tools. So some things like that, I like to tell people to tell a story, evoke emotion, give value, and encourage interaction. So what that means is when you're posting about a sale that you've had, don't just say, ooh, yay, we closed. tell the story of what happened with that client. Make it something that somebody else can relate to. Were they a first-time home buyer? Did you service a veteran and you got through this really sticky deal because you had a great lender partner? Tell the story. Somebody else that can relate to it will get sucked into it and be like, oh, I'm in the same situation. I thought I could never buy a house, or I didn't want to deal with this issue, or I don't have the resources for.
You know, who's really good with this?
Lauren Linder is a great example of that. Yes. So tell your story. That's my #1 tip for quality content. Evoke emotion. That's going to be, that kind of falls into telling the story. Make it, you don't have to try to make somebody cry, but make it relatable, right? Make it so that somebody is really excited and they feel that joy, and see that you can help them do the same thing in their world. Giving value. So this wouldn't be necessarily, I guess it could be for the post about, just sold. What did you do to add value to that transaction? But it could also be things about, Mike was saying, one of the big things right now we're hearing is I would sell, but I don't know where I would go. So what if you start providing value posts ahead of time that talk about resources that people can use when they're thinking of selling? Like we've got all sorts of different things with recast, bridge loans, Curbio to fix their house, short-term rentals, there's a slew of things, but they're not thinking about that. They're not in the market that we're in. They're in their house where they've been for however many years, right? So if you start providing that content to them, if they're already thinking about moving and that's been their objection, you're already helping to overcome those objections by giving them value in a post. And the next one is encourage interaction. Don't just say like my post. First of all, we know we want more than just a like, right? But do something that's like, who do you know that could benefit from this? Or what are your thoughts on this? And that could even be something that's like a this or that picture, like which kitchen do you like better? Which outdoor living space is your favorite and why? Right? So, because people could say A or B, which is great, they're commenting, but if you do and why, chances are more people will use more words, which will get you up in those algorithms again. So that's my first half of quality content, and my second half is actually in your imagery. You want to make sure that you're matching your story, which means if you are talking about a home with a veteran, don't post a picture of somebody who's in a condo renting, right? That doesn't make sense. I saw an ad for something, like one of those food grocery services, and it was talking all about their amazing vegetables, and the picture was a bowl of fruit. I was like, this does not make sense. So make sure that what you're typing in your text matches your pictures. A pro tip that a lot of people aren't aware of is that you want to have less than 20% of your graphic having text on it. That will help with getting more things seen as well. And then again, evoking the emotion. So that one at the top there that says welcome home, you can really see in the imagery that girl is super excited to move into her new home. So maybe that wasn't in the story as much that was showing how happy she was, but it shows it in the picture. So you can do that evoke emotion in 2 different ways. I wanted to give you that option as well. So my third tip for you guys is to use video. I know a lot of you have heard this over and over again, but it is because it works. Go figure. So for using video, I just want to remind everybody that it is a lot easier than you may think that it is to do, because you can do things like animate graphics. You can do things like go live, put something in a story or reel or TikTok, right? And just pre-record it or go live right away. And then you can share multiple clips from one long video. So if you do something like, Mark, I know you guys have a YouTube channel, you could make some long form content and take little snips of it and share those snips on social media. So you don't have to come up with 10 different videos. You just take the 10 little highlights and post them on different days over a few weeks. And that's all from one main piece of content. And the reason for the videos is a few things. One is that really helps stop the scroll. So think about it, if you're walking down the street and you're looking at storefronts and they've got some cool window displays, what's gonna make you stop and actually wanna look and go in that store? Something that's just got some signage, or maybe something that's got a display that's moving, there's something dancing in it, it's gonna catch your attention, right? It's the same thing with social media. If something is moving as you're scrolling through, it's going to have that impact whether people know it or not. They stop to look at it instead of continually going like this because they want to see what the next thing is. So that really helps people look at your post longer, which shows the platform algorithm that you're engaging with them more and therefore pushes your content in front of more people again. And then I just want to remind you all that I get a lot of pushback with, oh, I don't want to go live. I don't want to be on camera. So I gave you some options that you don't have to do that. However, doing those videos really helps people relate to you as a person. It shows how authentic you are, gets your personality out there, and they feel like by the time you guys actually pick up the phone and talk to them, they think they already know you. So it just makes it easier to build that relationship and have that conversation later. So that's my use video. And then I get a lot of questions about timing. And my tip on timing is a few things. One, do the work and go find out when people are engaging with you or on those platforms. So if you're on Twitter and you have no idea who the people are on Twitter, go do a Google search and say what gender, what area, what age group is on Twitter and when, and do your posting then. You can do that for any of them, and it's always changing. So keep an eye on that. Once you are starting to build your presence on social media, most platforms have an analytics section where you can go and just put it on your calendar once a week to go check and see when people are on and engaging with your posts. Were they engaging with posts at 6 p.m.? Were they engaging with posts at 8 a.m.? Okay, well now you know, so start curtailing your posting times to those chunks of time as well.
Something I follow on Twitter, and lately noticed it, I'll get the notification, okay, and then I'll look, and I want to engage. Thing it was like 12 hours.
So for those of you on Zooms, Joe was saying he got a notification that somebody tweeted, and he went right away when he got the notification to interact with it, and it said that it happened 12 hours ago. So that's meaning that that algorithm is telling you something happened, but it doesn't think necessarily that you're going to either engage with it or that you care enough to go right away. So it was waiting to show you that there's other things that thinks maybe you're more interested in. So it put those in first. Yep. Which isn't a fault of yours because you're the recipient of it. Yeah. But that happens a lot on social media where you'll see something a day or two afterwards, which is why if you've noticed, I always advertise my classes 2 days before my class. So there is a reason behind the madness, method to the madness, I guess. And the other question I get around that is frequency, not just what time of day, but how often should I post? My suggestion, again, do the research because different platforms want different things. But for like Facebook, 1 a day is a really good thing to start with, a good amount. However, if you don't think you're going to keep up with the 1 a day, do less. Because if you start with 1 a day and then you stop, the algorithm thinks you're not being consistent, which is number 5. See what I did there, Mike? So step 5 is to be consistent, whether that's with your timing or your frequency or your branding. Like you want, of course, visually to be consistent. That's not really for the algorithm. That's to make your clients' lives easier. They don't realize it, but as you're being consistent with your visual branding, they'll start to see, oh, this looks like one of Joe's posts. Oh, this Joe must have done this. And you just keep sticking farther and farther into their brain, right? With the timing and the frequency, that is really what's coming into play with the algorithm. So if you are making a commitment, just like Mike said, with using social media this is more of a marketing tool, not a prospecting tool. It can be prospecting, but that's a little bit of a different system. You want to make sure that you are committed to it. So just like with the Google ads and the lead aggregators, you need to be purposeful, and this is a long-term game. You're not necessarily going to turn that algorithm around and get all that engagement in a week. Right? You need to be purposeful about it. You need a time block to do your social media. You need to come up with your content and lay it out and put it out there and be consistent. So with that, we talked about how to engage. Do you guys remember what the rule of 5s was? Exactly. 5 minutes, 5 people, 5 words. Quality content. What was something that stuck out for you about quality content? Something that maybe you're not doing yet. Joe said do a story when you post. Anything else that you guys think maybe you haven't been doing that you want to do for quality content? Christy said, look for interaction. Yep, that's great. Using video. Who's using video already? Who's going to use video going forward? All right. Timing. So we talked about being purposeful about your timing, and it's worth it to go do the research to learn the platform you're working with. And then being consistent, which this is going to go into everything you do with your business, whether it's lead gen or building a system to do follow-up or serve your clients at a high level. It's the same thing with social media. Why would it be different anywhere else? And that's what I got for you today. Any questions? No? All right, guys. Well, Mike, big thank you for making the trip out here in person with us. I love it. And Mike's going to be kind of doing a tour of E2P over the next few months. So he'll be coming
Oh yeah, you'll see me a bunch.
in and out
probably
of
on
other
that thing,
offices.
but
Yes.
yeah. My intent is to be more face-to-face with you guys this year because, you know, I can do it
We
now.
can.
Well, it helps you too. You've been, you know, Zoom for the last 2 years, right?
Yeah, I've been stuck in a little box, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm actually really struggling, in all honesty, of connecting names back to real faces
Mhm.
because I also work from home. So I know Penny really well,
His dog, for anybody
but
that
she's
doesn't
my
know.
only coworker.
We are dog friendly.
Oh, okay. Well,
can bring
she's
her.
trying out a new daycare today. So we have
Oh.
options. So yeah, Penny's at school. Yeah, like just like anything, it's the boring stuff that actually gets you results,
Mhm.
right? One single flashy video, not the trick.
Success is simple.
Not easy. It's all about the Legos. Cool.
All right.
You have to go back, you can press go back, you can turn, you can go back, go back. You know, so I always go back, oh, put it out.
Right. Turn my mic off.
I mean,